And we have to answer that question by getting out to the polls. And a man I'm going to introduce to you right now, by the way, has anybody seen Elaine Marshall? No disrespect to the Democratic nominee. I've been watching politics closely in North Carolina for over 50 years. I've never seen a Democratic nominee not really have any ads or anything on television. I think what happened, the senator came up early with a lot of his good material, and just a lot of contributors just said, I'm not putting money in that campaign. I'll save it for the next time around. But he's been a great senator and promises to do even better things. When he feels good about having a Republican House and a Republican Senate to work with, that'll be wonderful, won't it? Yeah.
I can't believe Pat McCord made you stand up. Any good preacher will let you sit down right before they pass the plate. Right? I want to thank you. Thank you for being here on a Saturday afternoon. I know you've got other things that you could be doing, but I got to tell you, there's never been a more important time than right now. You've seen the opportunity. It's this host of candidates. You know, since 1898, we haven't been in the majority in the United States Senate. I think after 112 years, it's our time to take over. Yes, sir. We've got an opportunity this year, 10 days, to take the North Carolina House, to take the North Carolina Senate, to put conservatives on the judicial bench. Now, as you all know, they've got no letter after their name this time. There's no D, there's no U, there's no I, there's no R. But let me assure you, there's a C and an L. You don't see them on the ballot, but one's conservative and one's liberal, and we've got to work to make sure everybody out there knows who the conservative judges are. Yeah. And we can only do that for you. Most of you know my dad was a Presbyterian minister. He believed in exposing his children to every type of religion. I can remember that hot Wednesday night in the summer under the tent when he exposed me to a Baptist revival. Now, I'm not going to ask how many of you are Baptists, but I think you'll agree with me. Baptist preachers missed their calling. They should have been meteorologists, because a year in advance they could pick the hottest week of the summer. And I never will forget that year under that tent. That preacher hit his Saturday stride on a Wednesday night and looked out and said, "Jim, do you want to go to heaven when you die?" And Jim said, "Yes, sir, preacher." He said, "Come up on stage." Looked over and said, "Mary, do you want to go to heaven when you die?" And she said, "Yes, sir, preacher." He said, "Come up on stage." The preacher looked over at Fletcher. Said, "Fletcher, do you want to go to heaven?" Fletcher said, "No, sir, preacher." He said, "Fletcher, you don't want to go to heaven when you die?" He said, "When I die, sure, I thought you were getting a group up to go today." Now, that's human nature. We're all for it until we think it's going to happen right now. And the truth is, we've got 10 days before this election. 10 days to make sure that the right leadership is in place and elected in every slot. So I'm here today to ask you in advance to do more. I want you to take your calendar and I want you to erase everything on it other than work. No hair appointments on Wednesday. No bowling on Fridays. Everything's off. And for 10 days, I want you to commit, not to wait for a phone call, to pick up the phone and call a candidate, to call the party. This has been a tremendous victory location. Right now, as of last night, we've contacted almost 1.8 million people by phone in North Carolina through the Victory Phone program. Yeah. By the time we get to Election Day, we will have made personal phone calls to 2.2 million North Carolinians, asking them to come out, early vote, or vote on Election Day. Now, I'm not going to ask you how many of you have early voted, but if you haven't early voted, I want you to go on Monday morning, not Monday afternoon. I want you to go before work. And if you've already early voted and you've still got your sticker at home, I want you to wear it on Monday. I voted today. And I want you to wear that sticker every day between now and the election. See, voting is contagious. If you want more people to go and early vote, then they've got to see that somebody else has done it. And the truth is, it doesn't matter whether you voted on Monday and wore it on Friday. Just wearing that's going to make people say, I've got to go and do that. We've got to sell it in everything that we do. I'm convinced that over the next week, we can turn Republicans, Democrats, and independents who want to make a change in the direction of this country to the polls to elect the right type of leadership. Let's not leave it up to November the 2nd and Election Day and roll the dice on who turns out. Let's affect who turns out by how many people go out for early voting. And you can start that just by doing it yourself and doing it early. You know, I had a gentleman that I talked to the other day, and I said, are you going to early vote? He said, no, I'm voting on my birthday. I said, what day is that? He said, November the 2nd. I said, how old are you? He told me. I said, would you please early vote? I'm banking on all of you being here, but I sure don't want to lose one. I know I'm asking a lot. I'm asking a lot on behalf of all these candidates.